Hello, welcome to PEC channel. This is Chang, and today we're celebrating Vietnamese Women's Day. Aside from the International Women's Day on March 8th, Vietnam also celebrates its National Women's Day on October 20. It's among several occasions on which the society shows their love and respect to the women who could be their mothers, sisters, aunts, or just their friends. It's a day for everyone to greatly celebrate and cherish the women in their life and remember all the sacrifice women have made. As you all know, Vietnamese women play an increasingly important role in the nation's development, especially at the present and in the future. With the integration and globalization nowadays, the Vietnamese society has developed. Through the development, the role of Vietnamese women has completely changed, not only in the families, but also in community. Let's see the position of Vietnamese women in the past and how it has changed in recent days. After the Chinese came in and maintained their domination over Vietnam for more than 1,000 years, Chinese culture affected Vietnamese tradition. The Chinese ruled and educated Vietnamese people with their literature and ideas, especially the Confucianism. Under the Confucianism, women were influenced the most. They were never treated equally to men in all aspects of life and were not recognized for their hardship because only men were qualified as the head of their family and society. At home, women had to do all the house chores, take care of their husbands, their parents, as well as their children, and raise them. The family is the core of society under the theory of Confucianism. However, the Confucianists refused to recognize the important role of women in family, no matter how much they had contributed. Women were always subjected to the Confucian rules of submission. Submission to the father before their marriage, submission to the husband during their marriage, and the submission to the elder son when the husband passed on. Women were always dependent on men. They were raised and educated to obey and respect their father in order to become a good daughter and wife. They have no voice in the familiar matters, as well as the complete lack of decision-making in solving families' problems. Women were not allowed proper education and work outside of home. They had to take care of agricultural work and raise children. During the feudal period, most of the women in rural areas were illiterate. Only some born from wealthy families could go to school, but even then, they could not reach higher levels of education. They only studied just enough to make their fathers and their husbands happy. On top of that, women had to learn how to cook well and how to become a good wife and mother. During the war, for as long as Vietnamese people fought against foreign enemies, women were a vital part of that struggle. The victory over the French at Dien Phu is said to have involved hundreds of thousands of women, and many of the names in Vietnamese Communist unit roster were female. These women were living out the ancient saying of the country: when the war comes, even women had to fight. Women from Hanoi and the countryside fought alongside their male counterparts in Vietnam military in their wars against the South Vietnamese government and its French and American allies from 1945 to 1975. These women were the wives, mothers, daughters, and sisters of men recruited in military service. And because the war lasted so long, women from more than a generation of the same family often participated in the struggle. Some learned to fire weapons and lay traps, or to serve as village patrol guards and intelligence agents. Others were propagandists and recruiters, or helped to keep the supply lines flowing. There are a few names that stood out: Nguyễn Thị Minh Khai, Võ Thị Sáu, Đặng Thùy Trâm. They were all the most beautiful time of their youth, but they sacrificed it all for the good of their people. Aside from those young women, the deaths of Vietnamese heroic mothers in the war could not go unsung either. They gave up their own happiness and families for the sake of their country. Nowadays, with societal and economic growth, Vietnamese women are becoming more and more independent than in the past. There is now more balance of the roles in families as well as in community. The Vietnamese way of thinking about women has changed. women don't need to worry about social barriers or social prejudice anymore. At home, they no longer have to stay in and do housework alone. Family obligations are now responsibilities of both men and women alike. Women's voices hold more weight in decision-making to solve family problems. Women are now able to reach for the same educational levels and social standing as all men. The number of women who own businesses as well as take part in the political system is increasingly, namely Nguyễn Thị Phương Thảo, CEO of Vietjet, Tòng Thị Phóng, the Deputy Chairwoman of the National Assembly of Vietnam, Nguyễn Thị Kim Ngân, the Chairwoman of the National Assembly of Vietnam, and more. Even with all their achievements, these women are still able to fulfill their roles as a mother and a wife, and maintain the happiness of their own families. And today we have learned about Vietnamese Women's Day, International Women's Day, play an important role, do housework, take care, be subjected to. On top of that, solve the problems for the sake of societal and economical growth, social barrier, family obligation. Now, let's show more love and appreciation to our strong and independent grandmothers, mothers, sisters, and girlfriends. Finally, Happy Vietnamese Women's Day!